What's up, guys? DJ Woopig here in the man cave slash garage slash my general hangout area. But today I'm prepping for a wedding that is coming up tomorrow on Saturday, April 5th. So I'm just doing a little prep work, but I want to show you guys a tip that's going to make you look a lot more professional. A big thing after you get your sound set up, you work on your lights, or at least that's how I do it. I want to make sure I got sound first, then I go to my lights to try to get them ready and programmed, and try to get the wire maintenance done. And the wire maintenance is just cleaning everything up, making sure you can't see anything visible, anything. You don't want spider webs. Some DJs, I don't want to call them bottom feeders or whatever, because I'm not hating on anybody, because I used to be that guy, believe me. I've come a long way in the short amount of time that I've been doing this. But anyway, you'll see some DJs sit up and there's spider webs everywhere of wires, just from wires hanging down and not being properly secured or hidden where they can be. So if you're using a T-bar, this is actually a T-bar that came off my American DJ truss, the flat truss piece with the two stands on the middle. I think they run like $150. A lot of DJs use those or started out with those, but I'm kind of going away from that until I can get me some box truss or triangle truss in here on crank stands. I'm kind of wanting to scale things down because the big 10-foot span of truss, it's just not necessary. So I've ripped the T-bars off of that stand that came with it, and this is what I'm going with. This is just a standard T-bar, but it's out of that American DJ truss, which is I think 1 inch or 2 inch pipe. Instead of that real small stuff you get out of just the standard T-bar. The quality is a lot better. You can hang a lot more weight on stuff like this. And surprisingly, it's not that bad as far as weight goes. But this is what I've got so far. And a lot of DJ setup might look like this. Once I get set up, you just see spider webs of wires. Wires hanging down, things not properly secured. And we're going to try to get away from this. So I'm going to show you a quick tip on how you can make this look a lot better and more presentable, make you look a lot more professional. It's going to tie everything together, and it's not going to make things look out of place or unfinished. That's the main thing. We don't want you to get to a gig and be all set up and your setup still look either unprofessional or unfinished. So I'm just going to show you how I do things. You can do things a little bit different, but this is how I do it, and I think it yields the best result and easiest setup time, especially when you're running DMX. Alright, so what you saw before was a bunch of spiderweb cables. Things kind of looked out of place, unprofessional, unfinished type look. What we have here, this is the same amount of lights, same cables, but as you can see, things look a lot better and a lot more tidy. And how I did this, I'll just spin this guy around. It's simple wire loom. Now you can pick this stuff up at Lowe's, Home Depot. You can even, it's actually started out in the automotive industry, under hoods and stuff like that. There's a lot of electrical parts in there. And they just use this stuff to cover it up, keep wires from getting exposed, being cracked from the heat and things like that. And it works really well for your home theater and especially for your DJ setup, because it just hides a lot of it, ties it together. It keeps it simple but yet serviceable, because it opens here in the middle. You have access to all your cable, and that's just how I've done it. I'll bring you in a little bit closer. I've gone with a smaller diameter wire loom here for the skinny wires and the DMX wires, and the big one down here, this is the clump, and at the end it's got the wires attached all in a nice little neat cable. That way you can plug it into your three-way or whatever you're using and go straight to your power conditioner or to the wall. We'll back it up a little bit. And what this is gonna do, excuse my words, but what this is gonna do is it's gonna allow you to just, after the gig or before a gig, you can just come through, strip your wires off, and you've already got that clump together. That way your truss is pre-wired. It's gonna cut down on your setup time, on your breakdown time especially, and you can just roll this up and throw it in the bag. Now what I would suggest you doing, which is what I'm gonna do a little bit later, like I said, I was working with that 10-foot span of truss. So things, I've had to redo it since I've kind of want to ease out of that and going into this. What I had beforehand is little labels. You can get small little Mead. I think that's the company that makes them. Same company that makes 5-star binders and stuff like that. They've got little tabs that you can get, little white tabs. And what I like to do is I like to go to the back of the light and mark the light, and then take a silver Sharpie and write what light or what plug goes where. So for instance, what I'm going to do later is I'm going to make the labels. This is going to be 1, this is going to be 2, and this is going to be 3. Now, from there, you can go DMX1, DMX 2.1, 2.2, that way you got your ins and your outs, and DMX 3.1 and 3.2. And I'll write that on the little black part on the cable, or on your DMX or power cables, either or. And that's just going to allow me to, theoretically, in what would have taken 30 or 40 minutes to get a truss set up and get everything wired in place and looking good, sometimes maybe even more, depending on how many lights you're going with. It's going to make it about a 5-minute setup. Get your T-bar, put your T-bar into place, put your lights on. If you take your lights down, you can just, if you're doing a small gig like I'm doing tomorrow for this wedding, I'm just going to take this top part off, lift it off, and have this whole thing, that way when I get to the gig, stab it on the stick, and we're ready to go. Just raise it up, and everything's tucked inside of here. Now, if you open it up right there, that's the exposed DMX cable leading to the next stick, because I'm going to be running 2 of these plus some movers. So you need to have capability of jumping over, but this bigger diameter pipe is going to allow you to tuck that in there and still be good to go as far as running lights, or running more DMX cable to your additional span of lights. And that's pretty much it. It's going to cut down on your setup time, on your breakdown time. It's going to make things a lot easier and a lot simpler. That way, if you have help going with you, it's kind of a dummy way of doing things. Anybody can set it up as long as you have things properly marked. It's going to make things a lot easier, and plus it looks a lot better than the spider web cables, which is what we have, which is what we had in the last clip. So we'll just spin this back around. Once you raise that up, things are going to kind of be out of the way. You're not going to be able to see them, but things are still going to look good, and it's going to save you a whole bunch of time and make you look a whole lot professional. Especially for you beginner DJs that are just starting out, this is something I highly recommend you go through and do, and it's just going to help you out.